the hurricane is over. Before you know it, we're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights for the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Welcome back, Summoners, to the second week of the LVL Spring Term. My name is Vulcan. With me is Taknum, your shoutcasters entering the second match. So, a short introduction. Welcome to the caster desk, Taknum. We are so glad to have you here. So, how are you feeling here casting for the LVL?
Like Vulcan said, this is my first week in the LVL. It's a shoutcaster. Thanks to you guys for having me. The energy here has always been amazing. With the teams here and the production team, the energy and the level of competition here is really great.
And you're just not saying that, right?
No, I'm not just saying that. As we saw from our previous game, there was so much action going out all across the map. So we're happy to show these games to you guys.
So when it comes to the second match coming into from our first match, Adams and Penguin Authority, this is actually their debut match in the LVL. And what a way to start things off here, because they have just faced against FIT, which I did see some social media interactions from their Facebook page about, if you don't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best, seeing their standings rise up as the first week has progressed. So shoutouts to the FU Tech there. And so Taknum, entering the second match, what do you think the teams are having thoughts right now?
Yeah, so like what we saw in the previous match, we saw Adu play a pretty different game. They had a lot of late game scaling champions in their team, which kind of offset their early game, and they ended up losing a lot on tempo. So I would expect them to maybe adapt or change their playstyle. Maybe they would still bring out those late game picks, but maybe balance it a little bit more to complement one of the early games so that they won't be too far behind in the tempo of the mid game.
Maybe it comes to some adjustments, as you said. So let's wait it out and see how things will pan out. But on to the schedule to see what's coming up next in our second match would be BULSU versus Adams and Penguin Authority for their second match coming into the second week. So Bulacan State University, BULSU X rather, had a really good performance in their first week too, being one of the new teams entering the LVL. So I wonder if Adams and Penguin Authority feels a bit pressured.
Yeah, just like you said, BULSU is one of the top performing teams so far. They're actually third in terms of statistics from all the games that they've been playing. So they're a pretty strong team. They're also the LCL champions in the previous term. So they're one of the teams to look out for. So there might be a huge amount of pressure coming from Adu, especially since they are coming from that a little bit lackluster performance from last game. So it's gonna be definitely up to them to show us what they have in store for us.
So when it comes to interesting interaction with Bulacan State University, BULSU X, and Adams and Penguin Authority, Adams and University Penguin Authority, both of these guys played in the LCL, so I think they're no strangers to each other, and I'm pretty excited to see how things will turn out for the second match.
Definitely, but these two teams are new to the LVL, so this is actually the first newcomer show match that we're gonna see.
That's a nice way to say it.
Yeah, because these two new teams are are part of the three new teams in the LVL. So it's gonna be interesting since these teams are gonna be facing each other for the first time in the LVL.
The newcomer match will be our match 2. So if you check our schedule here to see the whole day, the whole week 2 line of matches, if you would say, and here it is, guys. Right now, we are on our second match, with the first match concluding with FIT's victory. And to the second match, it would be Bulacan State University BULSU X versus Adamson University Penguin Authority.
And coming right up next will be TUP versus FIT.
Monster Vel Prodigium versus the Tamaras on our next match. So that's going to be an interesting match in our next third, because TUP Monsterville Prodigium was one of the first run-ups in the previous LVL term, the summer term 2017, but now on this 2018 spring term, it's quite interesting because we see roster changes, new players coming in, old veterans standing down. One of the teams that do have a rather refreshing roster would be UPD, which they have switched out Fear, one of the veteran players in their team. But now the focus right now for this match would be BULSU and Adamson Penguin Authority. When it comes to these teams, the newcomer match. So you get to see how things will pan out.
Yeah, so here we're going into Champion Select from both sides. BULSU Gosu X going to be on blue side and Adamson Penguin Authority on red side.
So BULSU Gosu X having a great performance in the first week, getting a 2-0, and these things are just working out for them so well. But for Adamson Penguin Authority, I mean, your debut match, you didn't do so well. You had unique picks such as the Mundo Top, which did not really work out that well because I think you did mention talking about late scale, too much in the late scale comp.
Yeah, a lot of times you do want to have late game scaling compositions, but when you stack that up too much in all of your lanes, you just lose out so much priority during the early game, and that ends up snowballing later on to the mid game, and you might not even reach that late game point. So I think Adu might want to try to mix up a lot of their team comps now. They do have coming in some bans here, Skarner, Soraka, and Kaisa coming from Adu, and Nar and Trundle.
So I think you viewers are out there wondering why does BULSU Gosu X has no ban because of a penalty, because of the fact that they have changed their roster and not without a day's notice. So that's going to be the penalty that we're having. -1 ban. That would be BULSU's penalty here. But for ADU, at least they've seen the first week. They've seen how the Kaisa can be hard to deal with, noticing a ban immediately onto the Kaisa.
Yeah, definitely the Kaisa being one of the really strong AD carries right now in the meta, just taking it out off the board. Skarner is also one of the interesting picks because it has been very dominating throughout the different tournaments. So they just want to take that out, but now they're picking the bot lanes prioritized from both sides. BULSU going for the Ezreal Karma versus the Jhin and Morgana coming from ADU Penguin Authority.
So wonder what they're going for here for ADU. I mean, they have the Jhin, they have the Morgana, plus for BULSU, they're getting the Cho'Gath immediately, and we're seeing ADU hovering on the Yasuo.
Yeah, I actually really like the combinations from both sides. They did prioritize the ADC and supports. Usually, when teams try to stall out these picks, they get pinched in the second pick and ban phase. So both teams just opting to choose it right away in order to secure other priority picks and bans later on. The bot lane would be relatively even, slight wave clear advantage to ADU, so you might expect some jungle pressure going down there since they would have more priority in lane and their forward advantages.
Look at that. 4 interesting bans coming from ADU. It will be the double support ban, triple support total. The Soraka, the Janna, and the Nami has been removed, while BULSU will be getting the Olaf. Oh yeah, that's going to be an instant pick towards the Zac to match, to at least have a faster clear and scan out the jungle so that the Zac will be a non-factor.
Yeah, this really interesting pick, the Malphite coming from ADU. That hasn't been seen that much in competitive, and they're actually bringing it out. It's like one of their creative picks. Mundo was one from last game. Let's see if they can actually make this Malphite perform. Does not do that well against a lot of magic damage heavy comps, so I'm not sure how it's gonna play out in this game.
I guess for ADU, they do lack the mid lane, so that would be a Zed. A Zed in the mid lane versus the Karma. So I guess for BULSU, they were trying to pinch the pulls there, and ADU calling their bluff. That Karma ain't going for support. That's going to be the mid lane because that's one of y'all's picks. So let's just ban out the Nami and the Janna so that Ezreal does benefit a lot from the Enchanter supports such as the Janna and the Nami. That's been removed, and they will compensate that with a Lulu pick.
Both sides have relatively low damage composition. Karma, not the highest damage mid laners. Ezreal as well does tend to fall out later on into the game. But if Ezreal does get that first few items, he is one of the strongest AD carries during those stages of the game. So you expect BULSU to rotate more during the first power spikes of Ezreal against Adu, who would want a later on scaling into the game once Jhin and Zed do get that damage. However, it is going to be up to how Zed performs this game, since Assassins do have a trickier flanking playstyle during the later parts of the game.
So when it comes to BULSU, they will take the Ezreal as Tactum said, but note that we're on patch 8.9. The tier has been adjusted, same with one of the safest items for the Ezreal to pick up immediately. Let's see, can Penguin Authority find the timing, find the opportunity to try and punish that, but know that they have an Olaf, so without a doubt, I think for BULSU, they'll be playing a lot heavily centered around the jungle, especially scouting out Prodigy.
Yeah, and BULSU really has a lot of priority during the mid game once Ezreal gets these items. It's gonna be a little bit hard for Penguin Authority to find a clean pick or clean wins in these team fights, especially since Zed is against Lulu and Karma, so he's gonna have a really hard time finding these picks on the priority carries.
So let's see all the execution happening here on the Rift. This is the second match in the second week of the LVL Spring Term. Once again, guys, this is going to be a match between BULSU Goes to X and Adamson Penguin Authority.
Yeah, and right off the bat, we see BULSU going to the bottom brush, trying to see if they can maybe have a cheeky invade into Penguin Authority's jungle maybe later on.
It's going to be just point guard here. So BULSU, they're going for the Olaf. So maybe a late invade may happen, but we are seeing around the map. Okay, they will not commit to that. It's all about clearing the camps first and just spot out prodigies. So I guess it's going to be Adamson Penguin Authority just going for the point guard. Same with BULSU.
Yeah, so everyone rotating back to their lanes. It's also interesting to note that Adu Penguin Authority does have a huge amount of engage with this Jhin, Malphite, Zac. So if they do get ahead, they will be able to just constantly push on to that engage.
So let's see if that will be the case for BULSU, because they do have the Karma. Can try and just push out the lane to the mid lane. So I guess when it comes to a Zed, it's quite nostalgic to see a Zed. It's been a while. We don't normally see a Zed in the mid lane, and I think this kind of makes Adamson Penguin Authority's picks a bit interesting, and we can actually see what's their personality entering the LVL.
Yeah, Zed has fallen quite a bit off competitive since the assassin playstyle in the current meta is just a little bit negated a lot by the enchanter sports. Like Lulu, Karma just gives so much protection against that death mark. So it is gonna be up to Adu to make some very unique plays in approaching these fights.
I guess that's the reason why they've double banned those supports out in their phase 2 to make room for Jiz's Zed in the mid lane.
Yeah, but you still have to take into account that they didn't prioritize the other supports during their first pick and ban phase. So if they did get that Lulu or that Karma, there would have been fewer counter matchups.
And now done in the items to see, I guess for the Jhin, we'll have an easy time with the Morgana. I mean, that would be no-brainer for them. But I want to see how the Zac will try and gank onto this, because normally when we see, I think everyone can agree here that if a Zac was picked, you would expect some action to happen on ADU's side. But it's going to be difficult if everyone works together just to scout out the Zac. Already we're seeing Yesh moving in the top side. He senses something.
He's actually going for a counter jungle here onto the Groms. Trying to get the...
Look at the Zac channeling in. He does smite it, so he did take out the big drug. So looks like they do spot a Prodigy Yesh with a successful invade. I guess with the Karma and the Zed, they will not help him out, because it's a matter of fact just Yesh doing his job. He did spot out the Zac.
But look at how the mid lane's playing out already. There's already a 10 CS deficit coming from Zed against this Karma. Karma's just pushing up the wave over and over again, and with Zed's lack of wave clear, it is quite hard for him to respond to these incoming minion waves. So initially there is already this disadvantage, and if they don't find a way to neutralize this, he might just end up not being strong enough to assassinate anyone in the late game.
Not just that, the Karma can actually chain him down to his own lane, so the Zed can't roam that easily. So I guess for Vial, he is planning to just pressure Jizzy under his tower, make him lose some CS, and again, just keep harassing him until he does have a substantial lead, and maybe we'll see some action as BULSU, they are in control in the mid lane.
Both sides just going through laning phase. Just a little bit of wet noodle fights there at top lane with Cho'Gath and Malphite.
Not really a wet noodle fight because this Cho'Gath is actually can out-sustain this Malphite because of the passive, and I think we may expect another trade-up here. Here comes the Q. Where's the kill? First blood at stake. One more hit here, flash in, and that's it.
First blood coming into that Cho'Gath. That's a huge lead coming from BULSU, especially since Malphite did blow that flash as well. Should have succeeded that lead or flash earlier, since Cho'Gath was able to get that last auto win right before he flashed. So
it's all about timing here for the top lane. So I guess for Shiro, he did give Chris that first blood, and the glory to see that, you know, the flash was burned, so it wasn't necessary for Shiro to use the flash. Wrong timing, mistakes were made, but bot lane, can they afford another mistake here? Because I think they've spot out the Olaf in the river, in the brush right now, so they won't bite. They're just gonna stay easy and just stay calm in their own lane.
Morgana does cancel the recall from Ezreal, so he is going to be forced to stay a little bit longer here in this lane.
Here comes Zac coming in, coordinates with the Zed's Death Mark. That's going to be an on-point hit, and Prodigy helps that Zed, getting an assist, but the kill did go to the Zac.
So Zac does manage to land kill in mid lane. As you were talking about earlier, Zac is one of the stronger ganking junglers throughout the game, so he does net that advantage in mid lane, neutralizes the gold lead a little bit across the teams, and the Zed might be able to pop off from that kill. Zed does tend to snowball a lot when he gets these early leads.
But at least he got that assist. The kill did go to Zac, but meanwhile in the chaos in the mid lane, we did see Yash getting that sneaky Mountain Drake, using the blast code to get over that wall. I mean, the vision is just there in the riverside, but it doesn't really grant vision on the Drake, so Yash gets a very stealthy Mountain Drake for his team. The first Drake of the game, actually.
Yeah, Mountain Drake going over there to the Olaf. BULSU actually has a lot of ways to use this Mountain Drake later on with the tools that they have in these fights. So it is a good advantage coming into them. And you never really want to succeed a lot of these dragons early on, since they do pile up an advantage later on.
And now we're seeing a lot of action here, because when it comes to vision control, leave it to these both teams to just try and scout out the Zac, especially the fact that it's a team effort. Scout out that Zac so that you can try and pinch Prodigy and make it predictable to see where he is. But now, a kill score of 1-1 is something not definitive just yet, but at least for Penguin Authority, from that match one, we're seeing something that I hope that it's something of a shape-up, or at least they know what to do in the upcoming matches, which is right now.
Yeah, so Adu really different from the last game. They have been able to cruise through these laning phases relatively really well with an equal advantage, but that has to hold on a bit because there's...
Look at all those skill shots landing onto the Ezreal, but managed to buffer that Arcane Shift, so no danger there for the Ez. But one thing that I'm watching out for is a lot of action happening in the red side of the jungle of ADU, because Yesh has been continuously trying to invade the side, scouting out the Zac. They're pinging everywhere on the red side to see, yeah, the Zac is there, so let's try and invade it, because Yesh is very active in the Croc side. Maybe calling in for the invade can help pressure the Zac so that he can't really intervene the lane.
Karma actually ended up rushing the tier 2 boots. This is probably so that she could dodge a lot more the Zac engages through the ganks, but what this ends up doing is it negates a lot of her strength in lane. So right now, against a serrated Dirk Zed, she is actually has to play a lot more careful than she has to, otherwise she might just get bursted down, and Zed was able to neutralize and is in a small CS lead right now from before in the lane phase.
So 78 CS to 85 CS, but Lord Binding, close call for Ralph, did not connect, but it did pop. Cavenza's ultimate there, Crucial Barrage onto the Jit, and the Morgana, here comes the Zed over that side, here comes that double, Death Marks on Lulu, this is going to be it, but will it be a trade-off? Yes, it will be.
Massive collapse coming from Adu at bot lane, gets two of the bot lane laners does exchange a Zed, but there's still a huge, very clean engage coming from Adu. But I don't think it's over. They might get this first tower.
Not yet, Daknum. They will defend it. Yesh is there just in time. And the tower is a bit still healthy. So I think from that gank from the Zed, it's going to be very worth for GC because he has gotten 2 kills. Now he has the 2 kills to immediately get him that Duskblade. And we know that the Karma didn't go for the Arm Seeker's guard, so you can expect a delayed Zonias.
Yeah, definitely. And with that Karma, without that item, she will be more prone to the power of Zed during these early games. And I want to talk about that engage again in bot lane because it was a very extended trade coming from bot side with the bot laners fighting that entire creep wave and Morgana just casually walking up for that ultimate into the Jhin ultimate, into the Zed ult. So it was lots of resources, but they do get 2 kills.
Well, it's the fact that when you look at the bot lane wards, a lot of vision was impaired in the side of BULSU, but I guess they will take the first tower of the game here. Yes, that's going to be an easy turret for BULSU, especially a first turret.
And now Zed actually completed his...
Yikes.
His Duskblade.
Oh, that will be a challenge. And here comes the Ragnarok and Chilling Smite's ultimate that he cannot escape. He got slowed and gives the kill to Vyal. The one, an easy pickup for BULSU goes to X. But what's this? Prodigy's over that wall. Channeling in. Oh, he did change his mind. Your teleport will be cancelled too. Looks like ADU had second thoughts there. They won't defend the mid lane. Can they just give it away here? Oh, another change of mind here as Zack going in for the shot. Morgana coming in for the assist. Okay, that's an under the tower. Great skill shot from Zadenza to connect the kill.
That was a massive connect coming from the support roaming in mid and times his Dark Binding perfectly to Zack's Let's Bounce. So that is a really great combo, but they are going to trade in bot lane. No, it seems like Jhin does manage to get away.
That is dirty. Over the wall binding, come on. And that's going to be the last hit of the current call. And again, forcing out a flash. Zadenza doing his job here and also at a price of his own flash. He will take it any time of the day.
Lots of fights coming off the board, left and right from mid lane and bot lane. No one does fall in the end in this bot lane trade. But I think there was a bit of misplay coming from Zed in the start, but he does try to roam bound bot, try to get
that
something.
thought, Takno, because we're seeing Jissy around that bot side. Does he have ultimate? Yes, he does. Ignites onto the Zed, but he instead used it on the Ezreal instead of the Lulu, so I think the Ignite was more than enough. He may have gotten a double there.
Yeah, if he used that ultimate on Lulu, he might have gotten the kill. Maybe he was expecting the Lulu ultimate even though it was used, so there might have been some miscommunication from both sides there.
Oh my god. ADU shipping up here. Prodigy goes in. That's going to be Ragnarok. Unstoppable. It will run out right now. Ooh, he was timing it, but a missed time there. It looks like the Olaf will live. And y'all going in for the bind there. It will not connect. So that does have that black shield. And ADU, 4 members are backing up. What a shot from Karma. What a binding for the Morgana to stop y'all from engaging onto his team.
Lots of trades coming on there. Karma getting huge amounts of damage, but Morgana's disengaged with that Dark Binding was able to neutralize things. They do manage to save the tower for now, but it is very low and Choga, and it might be just getting later on to it.
Hold up. All that action happening in the bot lane. Looks like we didn't pay attention in the top lane because what just happened here? Because the Cho'Gath is pushing out the wave really aggressively because Chris just reached the tier 2 turret already below 20% health, I think.
That Cho'Gath actually getting Tower First Blood there while all the action was going around through the map. So that's actually a substantial amount of gold. He does have Righteous Glory already, so that will pad their mid-game power spikes when they do choose to go up for these clashes.
Oh, that's sneaky. That's dirty because we know that Chris was quietly pushing out the lanes and just let Shira respond to his team. So look at that CS lead. You can see here 122-93. Not just that, a gold lead also because he did get a kill and the first turret of the game.
Yeah, well, you can actually expect Ezreal and the teams to actually start grouping more once Ezreal gets his item. The same thing happened with Zed when he got his.
Okay, a steal. Will it happen? Oh, what a hero. Looks like that's going to be a sacrifice from Yesh. He did smite the Infernal at a cost of his life.
Yeah, but I think that is worth it. Infernal Drake going over to BULSU, goes to X. So that is still going to be an advantage jungler for that dragon. But this tower is really low, so they might just be end up forfeiting.
I don't think they're gonna back out just to attack them. They're gonna stand their ground. See, you can see the movements from BULSU's bot lane duo, but okay, maybe I can just take back what I said here because Prodigy can change all that. Now they're backing off.
Yeah, Olaf is down there, so Olaf was down, so they couldn't have had enough of a numbers advantage to actually defend that tower. But like I was saying earlier, you can see how a lot of these teams really capitalize on their power spikes. Once that Zed got his Duskblade, immediately roams throughout the map trying to push that advantage to other lanes. And the same is probably going to happen once this Ezreal gets his Triforce or his Sheen item, and it's going to roll over through the mid-game fights later on.
And also for the items on the Karma, getting the components for the Luden's Echo, so no Armseeker's Guard. Looks like Vel has nothing to worry here because he's confident that I'm not going to get caught by GC. I don't need that defensive item. I don't need to rush that Zonius because I can do the wave clear. I can match the Zed's push in the mid lane. You can see here in the HP of that turret, still pretty healthy. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, it's kind of low, so this could be BULSU having a small advantage in the mid lane.
Yeah, and this Karma hasn't been picked off by this Zed because there has been a lot of roams coming from both junglers. And this is one of the major differences between coordinated play, right? You can choose to itemize differently because of the support and coordination that your team can provide you. In the sense, Karma doesn't have to go for that Zonius because she's always has that support from her teammates to neutralize any of these 1v1s.
Yeah, they have the Lulu, so that's something that the Zed has to take account for. Okay, that's a bad call from Simon. He's going to be ganked by the Ragnarok. Olaf, that's going to be an easy kill for Ralph. Could that be another follow-up from ADU? We did see Sedenza using the Morgana chain, so I don't think ADU, they have what it takes to respawn. But Jesse says hello there. Look at that death mark. And it flashes over the wall. Another. Oh! Did you see the Shuriken not connecting? My God.
Missing the Shuriken by just a few pixels there.
No need. You don't need a Zonius when you have smooth footwork like that.
Using the speed up from that Karma shield to dodge. She would have died there.
I think I'm seeing a teleport here, Taknum. This is gonna be messy. This is gonna be fun because Chris changes his mind and looks like Prodigy will just going to kidnap him. Wait, what? He just stalled there. They will not engage, but that's gonna be a righteous glory pop there. A two-man knockup from BULSU under the siege here in the mid lane because that just forced Eddie to back off.
Malphite using his ultimate to disengage here. So this Malphite pick hasn't been working out for them so far. It has been down 20 CS and lost that tower first blood.
Looks like Prodigy is still waiting in the wings. Can he do something here? I just love how there was the double teleport happening in the fight in the river of the Baron Pit. But for ADU, I think we're seeing some hesitation or maybe great communication here. Oh, Jesse! Trying to go for assassinate when there's a Lulu. Bad call. That's bad news for the mid lane of ADU because BULSU, they have the Lulu, they have the Karma. Double shield.
A little bit too over-eager there coming from Zed. He just saw everyone in mid lane, so this wasn't really a good call for him to go in face tanking 5 people, but he does try to do something and ends up costing him his life there. So a lot of trades coming all over the map. And very exciting game coming here from both sides.
I mean, what a trade-off we're seeing here in the mid lane because I gotta hand it to the Jesse. That's it. He knows that he needs to assassinate the high priority targets, but it's really hard when there's a Karma and a Lulu right beside the Ezreal. So I hope that for ADU, they do make the adjustments so that it doesn't happen again. But for BULSU, at least this time, they know their strengths. You saw they were grouping up in the Baron Pit side, grouped up together, they're stronger, and that actually scared away ADU.
Yeah, Zed has been performing a little bit variably this game. He had really good roams and pushed that advantage, but at certain times he would try to press that advantage a little bit too hard. Like what we saw in mid lane, he did end up going down there to 5 people. Didn't get the kill since he did underestimate the amount of shields that Lulu and Karma can bring forth. But again, from ADU, they have been trying to put out these unique picks like the Malphite, but it hasn't seemed to work out so far, right? Malphite hasn't been performing that well in his lane, is down 20 CS and lost that tower first blood. So I'm not sure if they would have wanted to try something a little bit more meta. However, they did adapt their playstyle to this game. They did focus more on those a little bit more early game champions, and it has been working out for them so far.
And I think we are seeing the results here, but the Zed though, I'm pretty scared for Jesse because when it comes to the late game, can he assassinate anyone on BULSU's side?
Yeah, definitely. Zed being really hard to pull off later into the game, especially once everyone has a lot of items. There's little room for error in that sense.
And that's going to be a tough call for Jesse because when it comes to the decision, I wonder if he has what it takes to call for the shot calls here because they have to be careful on how they engage. Not to mention, it's the Lulu and Karma. And Karma is building full AP, so you can expect a huge meaty shield.
Penguin Authority does have a lot of engage from their side, so I guess the Zed pickup would be good in the sense that if they do have a good amount of engage at the start and isolate targets through those engages, then he might be able to go into these priority targets without enough of a response from the crowd control that's brought about. But the problem is finding these flanks that throughout the game through establishing vision and all these other objectives.
Can they do it so? Because when it comes to how the games are playing, we do see that for BULSU, they're not really biting into the baits of ADU because they're moving as a unit in a squad. We'll just see how things will pan out once we load up to the game here. We do apologize for that, summoners. I know that you guys want to go back to the game and see how will BULSU or ADU perform, but we are experiencing some technical issues here on our side, so we do apologize for that.
Yeah, we're trying our best to fix these technical issues, and we'll try to get back to you on that. But yeah, as we were talking about the games, it's really interesting seeing both of these teams play completely different types of games, right? They're BULSU prioritizing these compositions with shields, and while Adu really trying to go for these hybrid type assassination engage type, which has been working to some extent. The gold is still quite equal on both sides, so we'll see how they're gonna close out this game. But it does seem, at least in the team composition side, it does seem to be so far in the favor of BULSU.
Well, we do always say in the caster desk here, Dr. that when it comes to execution and how it will play out on the Rift, outside elements such as maybe pauses can actually ruin the momentum. We'll see. This is actually one of the tests that we can see on how we can determine the next champion of the LVL. Well, it does take me back towards Dun's finals natin ng LVL. We did experience a lot of technical difficulties, but we know that when it comes to playing on a league like this, outside here, going to the set and stage, it's quite difficult. And I gotta admire the players. Gotta hand it to them for having a cool level head.
Yeah, definitely. As you were talking about, like the pauses, the game environment, these are all factors that really are usually underestimated by a lot of people, but they actually impact the game a lot. Even as we've seen from previous performances like FIT, for example, there's a simple change to their mid laner. It just drastically changed their performance. So the amount of teamwork, communication, even momentum, as you were said, from these pauses do affect how players go into the game with their different mindsets, how they perform and how they play.
So let's say once we do go into the game here, but talking about the technical difficulties, it's not a common thing here for us, Doctor. So how do you feel about this? I mean, does it ruin your momentum?
It doesn't ruin my momentum personally. It is a little bit awkward when, at times, but then I think it is considering that considering all these things, it is understandable to some extent. Even MSI has pauses sometimes, so.
And I think it's something that we'll never get tired of, and something that I'm really used to. And when there's pauses, I kind of love it because I can relax a bit and maybe recollect my thoughts because the game pace here are quite fast into the second wing of the LVL. We know that ADU, when they're playing this game, they want to prove themselves here right now from a match 1. They didn't perform well, so might as well make Bawi in this match 2.
Yeah, they really want to show us what they can really do in this game 2 since they did have that a little bit lackluster performance from game 1. But they have been playing really good so far against BULSU, who, if you guys remember, were the LCL champions.
So when it comes to BULSU's performance here entering the LVL, yeah, they were the previous champions quite a long time ago here. But for ADU, I wonder if they could keep going here, going for pickups, because I'm pretty scared when it comes to the late game. Can GC, again, my question was before in the break here is that can he assassinate any key targets? I mean, he can go for the Lulu. Maybe he can also depend on some of his teams, especially the... Okay, who am I kidding? It's going to be Malphite and a Zac. More on engage, so you can only see Simon and GC being the main damage source from ADU's side.
Yeah, but if Malphite and Zac manage to knock up and CC Lulu and Karma for a long enough period of time, they won't be able to react to this assassinate. So it's really up to the execution of Penguin Authority to show us how they're going to be able to pull off these assassinates.
And if you notice how they're playing this game, guys, when ADU engages, BULSU, what do? They just back off and let them burn their ultimates. And after they are exhausted of everything, they have nothing to throw back. That's the time you see BULSU re-engage on the ADU because they have the Olaf, they have the Karma for the speed up. So maybe ADU, once they engage, it's a one-way ticket. They have to decide. Once we engage, we have no boat to fly back here. We cannot have second thoughts, as we saw all the time when ADU does.
Yeah, BULSU does not have a really great engage in their team, right? The strongest engage they have right now is that Righteous Glory, which isn't that good compared to the tools that Penguin Authority have. But if they manage to have these advantages, they could still get good engages and re-engages, as you said.
Oh, what's this? Distraction has been spawned here as they're going for a risky Baron. Alright, so Denzel's on the wing there. He pulled up some a war. Current Call is placed there. Great range with the Current Call. Can he land enough damage to stop BULSU? At this point, can they steal it? Denied by Beyond. But in the end, ADU has the damage. ADU has just wiped out BULSU in the pit.
BULSU overcommitting there in the Baron pit does get spotted out, and 4 people end up going down there. Massive turnaround from ADU. I think they underestimated the amount of Baron damage and the response time coming from Penguin Authority here.
And I think what they're going for is they have distraction. They have, summoned a distraction in the mid lane. When ADU is like, okay, we're still going to go for the Baron because we still see that as a value. So here's a replay
so
here.
Here they actually go in. Jin opens up with the Curtain Call, but Zed going into the flat. It actually goes really low to 130 HP, but that amount of knockup and Zed going into the backline ends up isolating 3 targets for Jin and the others to regroup and pinch them from both sides. Ends up getting 4 kills and
gonna be the triple for the Zed here, because I think for BULSU, playing on the patch 8.9, you have to take account for the tankier Baron, not to mention how much damage it deals AoE, because not just one member can actually tank the Baron at this point, because the Baron will be like just giving it the same attention to every member that's inside the pit. BULSU was very low, so I think for ADU, that's easy for a Zed to immediately clean up, hence the triple kill. Thank you very much, because for Jesse, having a KD of 633, getting the Yomos, getting the Dustplate, and now going for the Black Cleaver, this could be dangerous for BULSU. Oh, great disengagement from Rob. Can he escape there, because he's been binded down here? Here comes the Deathmark. Oh, what a call there from ADU, because that's going to be the pickup they need. The Lulu used the ultimate. Now it's dead. Now maybe ADU can go for the pickoffs.
Yeah, Lulu down here, so it is a 4v5 right now. They should try to go for something here. There is still 1 Baron buff coming from BULSU.
Oh, what's this? Shogun is still in the top lane here. Oh, Jesse, can he do something here? Oh, he did get some aggro, but he doesn't care. He does have the feast. I think Jesse is a bit tempted to go in deep because he's calling in the Morgana and his team. Chris, can you survive here? He does have the warm-up, did regenerate just in time, but Prodigy will cut him off. Now ADU, they're just chipping down this show, guys, little by little, but in the end, what a flash face coming from Chris. Can he get more? He's pretty much happy here because at that point, he took down the Zed. He's still alive. He forces even a flash from sideways. He gets the shield from beyond. The current call. They're using everything. We want you, Chris. Come back here. That's going to be a pickup that ADU wants. And that's going to be another pickup. 2 members. Make it 3 if you want to count the other one for ADU. They've only launched Jesse, but now 3 members of BULSU focused in the bot.
2 kills coming down there. They spent so much to get that Shogath kill. And this Shogath has been very, very massive from BULSU's side. Gets so much pressure into the top lane. Blows a flash and a few ultimates there. So he does end up going down for 2 people, but they do manage to trade. They got 2 towers. They get a tower, so it's not the end of the world, but this Cho'Gath pick has been very huge for them. He gets that flash piece and instantly wipes out one of the team members.
I love what... I have to hand it to Chris. I love the flash piece. That is so nice of him to do. I mean, followed up with a thumbs up. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff for Jesse. And he did not expect that much damage. He did overstay a bit. But at least for Chris's side, he did manage to burn summoners. But overall, that was still a bad trade for BULSU because they've lost 3 members. But at least they've taken down 5 turrets total. They were focused in the bot lane.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst thing that could have happened since they did have other members in other parts of the map to capitalize on the fact that they moved so much resources to respond to this Cho'Gath. But look at this Cho'Gath. He's already an item above the Malphite. So he's really massive with that Warmogs and Stone Lake. That Feast is going to do insane amounts of damage when he's face stacking 3 people. He's going to have double the HP. It's just gonna do insane amounts of damage.
That's so disgusting because when he has that, man, they call it attack, but when you pop the Gargoyle Stoneblade and you get that extra shield, you deal a lot of damage with the Feast. But I think they're focusing on the build. Finally, that's the thing. They need to waste the ultimate. Now Jesse has the freedom to go onto Ralph, but that's going to change here because BULSU has responded with Chris Imperium onto Shiro's butt. But for Jesse, he's forced to back off.
Yeah, so it is going to be just a 1-for-1 exchange there. Good response from both sides. They managed to equalize it, and it looks like BULSU will be going for that dragon. They do secure it.
Oh, look at that. Oh, he pops the cell division. Let's see. What a snipe coming from the Ezreal. Fearless. Look at that. Engages with the unstoppable force here from Shiro, but also changes his mind with the flash out. I don't think he's going to escape here. One more hit. The red buff is in fact. Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate. Ooh, close call with the Raptors there, but Shiro is just trying to survive himself. He cannot outrun this Ezreal with the red buff.
This Ezreal finally gets his Triforce and is making damage through the map. It is really late since he did go for this double tier build, but it is what he needs for that late game when they are going to go for this tower.
Okay, for Jesse. He actually overstepped there because you have to know that there's the silence from the Cho'Gath, the Q from the Ezreal can have the slow effect with the red buff. I think they will lose an inhibitor here. Current call has been used just to clear out the waves, but can they stop the push coming from BULSU? You can see the mid lane being the focus here, but the Ezreal fully stacked with the items. Fearless going in, going for a snipe, killing Simon with a true shot barrage. That's going to be the double. Can he make it? A triple. He gets knocked into the air by Chris, and he will secure the kill.
Ezreal finally popping off here. They do manage to get that 3 kills. Gets that inhibitor, and now they're on with the second inhibitor, trying to get all the advantage that they can from this game.
Oh my god, from that single push from the bot lane, every member of BULSU were on point on getting ADU 1 by 1. ADU has not grouped up in that team fight. As soon as they respond, they were trying to go for defense.
Yeah, really, really fast pace of events. Now they're on to Baron. That entire series of events happened simply because Ez was able to pop that cell division through that fight. They get the Zac, they get the Dragon, they get the Inhibitor, and it's massive amounts of damage and objectives coming from BULSU.
A steal can happen. It's a bit of a long shot here, but it won't happen for ADU. That will be the Baron buff falling to the hands of BULSU, the second Baron of this game. But note that the first Baron take wasn't really successful. Yes, they have taken the Baron, but in the end, they've got wiped out in the field.
Yeah, so now there's only one tower left in their base, defending the outer inhibitor. So it is gonna be the last outer turret. So they're probably gonna try to get a push into this. This Cho'Gath is just massive at this point. Can block the curtain call without even moving that much.
So it's going to be a tough call for ADU. Let's see, 2 inhibitors are down in the top and also the bot. The Nexus turrets are still standing, both of them actually. So ADU, they still have a solid chance to try and push back BULSU. But know that the Ezreal, yikes, that Ezreal is like stacked up. Mana, the Borg, and the Trinity Force getting a second tier to further boost up that AD.
Yeah, the difference in gold is already 10,000 from simply those last few exchanges. So there is a huge power spike coming from BULSU here that really has to be respected.
I think it's also the fact that they have 8 turrets on their score compared to ADU only 2. Looks like the minions are doing their work to the Nexus. ADU getting pressured. What will they do to stop the bleeding? Because the Nexus turrets are being targeted by the minions. Critical from the fountain. Can he do anything here when there's a choke and an Olaf just face guarding every member of BULSU, especially Imperium? The Ezreal untouched, has the shield, has the heal from the Borg. He's not gonna take him down. He still survives full health. Here comes the flash in from the Jhin to get a single kill. But at the end, this is BULSU wrapping it up.
And it looks like BULSU is gonna go there for the win. Gets the great counter engage that they needed. Cho'Gath flash eating the Zed once again. So huge advantage from BULSU. Ends up securing the win. A great game from both sides.
For the flash piece, did not really secure the Ezreal because, man, the shield was ridiculous coming from the Karma and the Lulu. So hands down to BULSU. We did see that ADU having the early game, slight advantage, getting triple kill onto the Zed to Jesse, but they knew what to do. I mean, once the Zed was ahead, they just waited for the Ezreal spike, get the Trinity Force and the board.
Yeah, so I think really the problem with ADU in this game in particular was I think from the way I saw it was the lack of meta picks, I guess. They did try to go for something a little bit more unconventional with that Malphite, but it didn't net them a huge amount of advantage. The Cho'Gath actually was huge for BULSU, so if they were able to suppress that a little more in the mid game, they might have done a little bit better, since ADU did have really good plays in the bot side of the map where all of their picks were concentrated.
But when it comes to BULSU, I gotta hand it to them. They know how to respond to or know how to play around a deficit, such as the Zed being a threat in the mid lane, so they just stand up, backed off, and wait for their time to shine, and that's what we saw. What happened? Suddenly seeing the Ezreal popping off.
Yeah, definitely. They did respect the Zed pick. They didn't become over-eager. Karma did play a lot more safe, and they did appropriate enough jungle pressure to deal with this Zed, such that even when Zed engaged in the mid game, as we saw, it was denied by jungle assistance. So a really good play from both sides, trying to get their advantage, but in the end, it is the win from both.
So I guess this concludes our match too. Thank you so much for watching the 2018 LVL Spring Term. My name is Vulcan. With me was Taknum. After the short break, we will continue on to match 3, TUP versus FIT.
See you next game.
Ultimate there, huge barrage onto the Jhin and the Morgana. Here comes the Zen over that side. Here comes that double. Death marks on Lulu. This is going to be it, but will it be a trade-off? Yes, it will be. Current is placed there. Great range with the current call. Can he land enough damage to stop BULSU? At this point, can they steal it? Denied by Jones. But in the end, ADU has the damage. ADU has just wiped out BULSU in the pit. Does have the Warlock, did regenerate just in time. A Prodigy will cut him off. Now ADU, they're just chipping down this Cho'Gath little by little, but in the end, what a flash face coming from Chris. Can he get more? He's pretty much happy here because At that point, he took down the Zed. He's still alive. He forces even a flash from sideways. He gets the shield from down. The current call. They're using everything. He wants to, Chris, come back here. That's going to be a pickup that ABU wants.
Oh,
and that's going to be shield. You deal a lot of damage with a feast. But I think they're focusing on the build. Finally, that's the thing. They need to waste the ultimate. Now Jesse has the freedom to go onto Ralph, but that's going to change here because BULSU has responded with Chris Imperium onto Shiro.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, he pops the cell division. Let's see. What a snipe coming from the Ezreal. Fearless. Look at that. Engages with the unstoppable force here from Shiro, but also changes his mind with the flash out. I don't think he's going to escape here. One more hit. The red buff is in fact. Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate. Ooh, close call with the Raptors there, but Shiro is just trying to survive himself. He cannot outrun this Ezreal with the red buff. This is the minions are doing the work to the Nexus. BDU getting pressured. What will they do to stop the bleeding? Because the Nexus turrets are being targeted by the minions. Critical from the fountain. Can he do anything here when there's a choke and an Olaf just face guarding every member of BULSU, especially Imperium, the Ezreal, untouched, has the shield, has the heal from the Borg. He's not gonna take it down. He still survives full health. Here comes the flash in from the Jin to get a single kill. But at the end, this is BULSU wrapping it up.
And it looks like BULSU is gonna go there for the win. Gets the great counter engage that they needed. Cho'Gath flash eating the Zed once again. So huge advantage from BULSU. Ends up securing